Hey, anime addicts, this podcast is ad-free. And if you want to keep it that way, you can go to aaapodcast.com/join or patreon.com/aaapodcast. You're going to be getting 8 exclusive podcast episodes per month, our hentai episodes, our after parties, and our hobby addicts episodes. And today you'll get to hear a story where I was confronted by a naked Santa Claus in a bathhouse. What? Of course, this is all very ironic since this is also an ad, and I just said that we wouldn't play any ads. Just support the podcast. Mitsgui needs more monster energy over at aaapodcast.com/join or Patreon. But seriously, there's no ads. Just this one. Maybe. Okay, let's start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aaapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode, what is it today? It's actually episode 576 of the Beverage Cast, because my name is Blue Cup, and along with my human counterpart Mason, who will be hosting the show within the show known as the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast, we're going to be talking about what's in our cup. And I guess the other podcast is going to talk about, rather than quenching, it's about making your anime addiction so much worse. With me today is actually not the usual crew. The Beast from the West, drinking his monster, is lost on Sun Mountaintop. He actually was hit on so much by that Santa you heard on from the beginning that he might be dead. I don't know. He's just not here. We just don't know. Technical difficulties have arisen. Mitz is not with us today in a last-second ditch effort to make this podcast a cluster. So this is your first time listening. We are normally not this disorganized, but most importantly, who is with me today, the clear, transparent, dare I say, purest among us. It's Caroline. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. You're making a lot of references to cups that people cannot see if they are just listening to the podcast and not watching on Twitch. But if you are just listening to the podcast on the regular and you want to know what these cups of water look like, then you're just gonna have to go to Twitch.
I'm very much in a visual mood today, despite this being an audio podcast, because Mitz, behind the scenes, inside baseball, Mitz does damn near everything in this show. He does the streaming, he sets up the video, sets up the audio. So for him to not be here at this moment is crushing defeat, and I am panicking. I have 20 things open, last second images and sound files that I've never seen before in my life. So I want everyone to appreciate the struggle I'm going through. So yeah, it's a very visual episode today.
And to make it worse, I am completely useless. So this is all on you, Mason.
This is fun. Like normally when the adult is gone, we're like, haha, like we're so unprepared, LOL. And we are. Don't get us wrong. We would never lie to you. But this is a whole new level of being unprepared. But you know what? We're going to try our best. As Caroline mentioned, join us on Twitch. It's usually a bunch of fun. You can chat with the people in the chat and say, like, why are they 20 minutes late today? Now you know why. Now you know. Facebook, Discord, we have so much going on. Big props to Pfeffel and Kiryu Christian for the Discord boosts, helping us get all those extra emojis, all that better streaming quality for our watch parties. So if you're interested in joining, we have links on the website, and we'll tell you all about that at the end of the show. But let's get this going, and enough rambling. So our topic today is the turn your brain off and on anime. So we're going to talk about shows that you really should like buckle down and you might even learn something from, and shows where if you got a little tipsy, maybe it's not the end of the world, and it's probably better off enjoyed that way. So we're going to have some fun with that, followed by our final round of Spring Impressions, where we cover Odd Taxi, Shadow's House, Shaman King, Jouran, the Princess of Snow and Blood, and Zombie Land Saga Revenge.
Revenge.
Amazing. I love it. So, anything else before I botch the transition to the big news of the week?
Maybe you just quickly explain that, Mitsgui had a couple of technical difficulties. He's around. He's just not going to be able to join us today, unfortunately. So that's too bad, but he tries best.
What?
He's having a lot of frustrating things going on.
What's a good emoji in the chat that will channel all the good mojo of like electrical engineering spirit energy to him to fix his mic and save us from ourselves? Whatever that is, press it, and we'll be on our way.
Yes. But yeah, so let's get started then. Big news of the week. So I actually found a couple things I wanted to talk about, but they're actually part of our news break for this week. So I figured, why beat a dead horse? Let's talk about Mitsugi's topic that he brought in, and I'll take all the credit.
Exactly.
So the story is, a Japanese man with 35 girlfriends busted for fraud over birthday presents. So, Takashi Miyagawa, a 39-year-old part-time worker from Kansai, pretended that he was in a serious relationship with each of his quote-unquote girlfriends and told him that his birthday fell on a different day so he could receive oodles and boodles of gifts. And this is all reported from the Japanese media. So he actually told a 49-year-old lover that his birthday was on February 22nd. And another victim, who was 40, he said it was in July. A third woman, who was 35, said that she believed it was in April, but his real birthday is on November 13th. So he reportedly met the single women while selling them hydrogen shower heads. Weird.
What?
And other products for an unnamed company.
What is a hydrogen?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, as long as it comes with oxygen, I guess it's just a water shower head. But I'm confused. Yeah. I'm intrigued though. I like it.
Too. But I don't suppose that's the main topic of discussion here. And then he began a relationship with each of them under the assumption that marriage was in the cards. So he's been kind of leading them on the entire time. So the catfish's fomatic racket netted, I don't know what that means. This is all just written down. Netted him a whopping $929.44 in American money. That's 100,000 yen. So that's worth of presents, clothes, and cash. So yes, he has been arrested for fraud.
Yay! For another episode of Nihongo Crimes.
Why?
Or not Nihongo Crimes, Nihon Crimes.
Why is it always fraud? Because one of the stories I was going to talk about was about the drummer from that band Ollie again, because there's been an update about him. But I'll save that for the news break. And he was also arrested for fraud. So
it's just so easy.
It's popular.
So easy, just tricking people into giving you presents.
But yeah, that's another story of weird Japanese crimes. What do you have today, Mason?
I have a sound-related thing, and I will say, chat, how does our audio sound? Hopefully it's somewhat balanced. And I will mention also, if it sounds like Caroline is just jumping in, she can't hear any of the drops I'm playing. So maybe that'll be cleaned up in recording when Mitz actually has to edit all this. But all the sounds, all the intro music, Caroline is completely deaf for. So she's as in the dark as a lot of us. So she's struggling too. Anyway, cool. My sound-related thing is a new release is upcoming from Brooklyn-based creator of anime vinyls called Tiger Lab Vinyl. And I was actually hoping Mitz was here to chat with him about it. But this is a startup company that essentially does pressings of classic and new anime soundtracks to vinyl. So if you are into that scene and are a record collector, don't skip out on these guys because they've put out some really cool products. They have like Hunter x Hunter, Berserk, a bunch of modern stuff, and they're actually about to drop the James Shimoji's Redline soundtrack, which if you've ever seen, you know how absolutely bombastic and off the walls that is, and it will probably have a super cool print to go with it. So definitely check out Tiger Lab Vinyl. For Mitz, I was going to recommend like Urtsuki Doji and like Demon City Shinjuku, which are like some classic hyper-violent stuff from decades ago, and I'm just amazed that they got vinyl pressing. So if you like that stuff, go check it out. And if you do end up purchasing something, let them know that they should make a ping pong vinyl, and I will buy all of the copies. So, I don't know. Caroline, do you collect records, or anyone in your family into that game?
No.
No.
I believe we have some records in our basement, but I have not played anything at home. There was one time when I was like college radio station, we had a vinyl day kind of thing. So that was the first time and only time I've ever played a vinyl.
Okay. No, vinyls are cool because even if you don't have a record player, you can be a fake fan and just, because they're so large, have them almost as like art pieces that have a media component. And it's really cool for some of these series. Like Redline, it doesn't get like a ton of merch outside of like Blu-ray sales and stuff. So this is a way to like support it without, if figures or posters don't exist, you can get a nice display piece. So vinyls are super rad, and I'll definitely keep watching for future drops. So that was just something I wanted to shout out. So with all that said, we can jump to our main topic, I believe, which is very poorly titled Turn Your Brain Off and On Again. And it was inspired by a combination of two mailbag submissions, or not mailbags, but topic suggestions, which you can do on our website at AAA Podcast. One's from Josh, who says that he found himself wanting to watch shows with his friends while drinking, but because a lot of anime require you to be a little more attentive, they were having problems. So what are the best anime to watch while drinking? And then another submission from Moral, who says that he would be interested in hearing us talk about some more like historical anime, such as Vinland Saga or Golden Kamuy. And I was like, oh, those are kind of, historical. You might learn something about people of the past, and very two different requests. And maybe let's put these together and see which shows work best for relaxing and beverage consumption, and which work best for actually being studious. So we've divided it into two lists, and I think we should start off with the drinking turn your brain off ones or the turn your brain on ones. What do you want to go with?
Let's just go in order. I like going in order. So the turn your brain off and drinking to anime.
Gotcha.
So shall we go through what Mitsgui had put down as well?
Yeah, I mean, he did all this effort. Let's give him some credit. We have Ikitosen, Killing Bites, Keijo, One Punch Man, and fittingly, Redline. So I don't know which of these you've seen. I don't know if you agree with any of them.
I've only seen One Punch Man.
and would you think that's a good one to drink to?
Oh yeah. It's a good drink. I'm sure there's a lot of fun drinking games involved in One Punch Man, for sure. And also, it's just overall just a really good show. If you're having like, I don't know, a bad day at work or school or something, putting on One Punch Man, I think it's a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Keijo, I could see it. Redline, I feel like you might get motion sickness if you're like doing too much drinking. Like sometimes in that show, it's a racing show, or a movie, I should say. They are moving so fast that like time is like warping around these characters as they like stretch out across like the entire screen as their skin and face gets pulled back from the G-force. And I feel like if you were a little under the influence, that might be a little woozy inducing, but I think these are all some solid picks. But Caroline, what did you go with and why?
Okay, so first up, we have Bento. Now, I am not necessarily one to really like this kind of show, but for some reason, I love Bento. It's probably one of the best shows that we watched during Anime Club. It's a lot of fun. There's a little bit of, boob physics involved, which I don't really like. But it's pretty funny, and if you're looking for something to drink to, I think this one would be pretty good. It's really just a lot of chaos, and it's pretty fun. Yeah, and also if you just want to like watch something dumb and stupid and just turn your brain off overall, it's a pretty good watch.
For sure. That's a great suggestion. My first one is it's pretty recent, but I'd say it's the granddaddy of drinking anime, which is Grand Blue, story of two guys who go to college and just get not peer pressured, but join a diving club where they pretty much drink nonstop all day. And despite the efforts of these two characters maybe not wanting to go all out at 9 a.m. every day, they end up finding themselves highly intoxicated, and it's just a huge, I don't want to say it's a word for a fraternity party, but it's pretty rambunctious and it's very fun, and I think drinking along with that not necessarily as a game, just being in the same mindset as the characters could be quite a trip. So Grand Blue is my first one.
Yeah. I think I watched that's the scuba diving one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes of it and I just didn't really get into it. But
I'd say like Bento, maybe not my normal like patrician taste, but it's a lot of fun. So to each his own. To each his own.
Next on my list is Gintama, which I feel like would be great to drink to because it's a lot of ridiculousness that would be pretty fun to have under the influence.
It's so long though. When do you stop drinking? You're just dead.
Well, it's not something that you have to keep on watching until it finishes. You know, just watch a few episodes here and there. It's also like pretty episodic, so you don't have to worry about like finishing it whenever. And overall, like even if you're not drinking to something, because having a turn your brain off anime and a drinking anime are not necessarily the same thing. But it's also a pretty good watch if you're just wanting to just turn your brain off, not really have to worry about anything else.
No, I get you. I think Gintama overall being mostly comedic is definitely the way to go. My next couple shows are all very episodic, not slice of lives, but they get in, get out, they make their point, they have their laugh, but you don't need to follow it from like episode to episode. So when you start it up from the next day's hangover, you're like, oh no, I missed this important plot point. Like my next couple are the daily lives of high school boys, Cromartie High School, and to an extent Inferno Cop. All of these things, none of them look that great, so you don't really need to be in admiration of the art. All of them are very sketch based, and they're just kind of goofy and fun and high energy to keep you going, and they're great. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, because you also want shows that you're like, if you are drinking with your friends, which I hope so, because otherwise it's kind of a sad situation,
okay,
which I'm not like ranking on, because I have drank by myself on a numerous occasions, but it's still a little better to drink with friends. And you want to make sure that you pick shows that are generally like likable across the board, but also you can jump in at certain points, because if you don't want to start at the very beginning because maybe some episodes are better in the middle, you don't want to have to like explain things to your friends.
Well, sure.
Next up on my list is Slime 300, which is a show that came out or is coming out this season, and I absolutely adore it. It is so cute, and just and this is the show that I watch just to relax and to not really again worry about anything else, and it makes me feel good. So yeah, that's on my list.
Yeah, I guess in a similar...
I don't know about drinking, though.
I would say drinking can be more than just, like, getting schwasty with the boys and being rowdy. Like, I guess on one aspect, a show I had for, like, end of a long day of work, you're pretty stressed out, and you just want to relax and chill and just have one to unwind. From that perspective, I recommend Bartender, which is a very slow episodic show, which is great for going to bed. But if you just sit back in your nice leather recliner with a mahogany table and some nice scotch or something, and just unwind to Bartender, which is a show about making mixed drinks for patrons suffering from, life issues and woes, that could be a nice way to dial it down. So that's the other side of the drinking aspect that it could be used for. So that's my next pick.
Yeah. I actually have not seen Bartender, but I think I would like watching it, so I'm surprised I haven't gotten into it yet.
And at the end of each episode, it tells you like how to make the drink from the episode, so you can try it at home, and you feel so sophisticated.
Have you actually tried making a drink from this anime?
I've never had a drink in my life, so I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually true. I am a no fun person. I've never had an alcoholic beverage, and probably that's showing through in my my expert list on shows to drink alcoholic beverages too. But anyway.
It's just personal, like, don't really want to.
It's gross.
Or you just never really
nerds. It's never happened.
Interested.
Yeah. I got water. What more do you need in life?
Well, according to the chat, it's not water, it's Mitsgui's tears. We can't fool them.
It is. Well, it's like the scene from Grand Blue where the guy's like, here, have this cup of water. And the guy's like very suspicious because it's all clear. So he pulls out his lighter, puts it across the top, and it lights on fire. Like, clearly it's not water.
Yeah.
Ooh, Mitsugi's Tears.
So next up on... Yeah, Mitsugi's Tears. So next up on my list, I have Skullface bookseller Honda-san, because after a long day of working retail, which makes me want to bang my head against a wall, this is what I turned on, because like, at least somebody understands my pain. Honda understands. And it's just a really fun show. I think that it'd be funny to drink to as well, because it, you know, the rambunctiousness of working in retail can be really funny under the influence as well. So yeah, it's a really good show overall.
Drinking game. Drink every time an awkward foreigner comes into the shop asking for dojinshis.
Drink if it reminds you of a specific time when you've worked retail or restaurants or something like that.
I love that
Helps,
show, but
take away the pain.
I can't imagine working in a bookstore like that. It seems like it'd be so relaxing, but then you watch the show and you're like, people are the worst. Customers are even worse.
I mean, if I had to work retail again, it would be a bookstore. I feel like at the very least, it's better than dealing with people looking for just.
I guess your clientele might be better
than
be some other places. Who knows? Who knows? My last suggestion for shows to turn your brain off to and maybe drink to, similar to the comedy of the eccentricness earlier, but this is taken up to 11. This is Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan, which is about a angel sent to Earth to protect it from a mad scientist that will destroy all of mankind with his future creation. And this mad scientist, though, he's only in like high school right now, and he's not a bad guy. So to keep him from advancing in intelligence and his plot, she just hangs around him, and every time he takes a step towards what she perceives world-ending decisions, she just takes out this massive spiky metal bat or any other implementation tool that she wants, and just grinds this dude to dust, just chopping off his head, his limbs, just absolutely pulverizing him constantly. And it's like a 4-episode OVA, and it's a lot of fun, and it's probably even more fun drunk. So that was my final selection.
It kind of sounds similar to The Devil's a Part-Timer. Just a little bit. Like, not like, I'm pretty sure it's a bit different because he's actually like pummeling to the ground. But
it's pretty violent, over the top. If you've ever heard Mitsgui, and if Mits was here, he'd be playing the drop of like play it instead of hearing my voice. She like sings this like really annoying song right before she unleashes hell on this dude. So it's I can't say it's a good anime, but it's a fun anime. And that counts for something, I think.
The last one on my list here is Tonari no Sekikun, or My Neighbor Sekikun, The Master of Killing Time. So this is a short anime that I've not watched drunk, but it is really fun to just watch and turn your brain off to. And I suppose it could be a good drinking anime as well. I don't know. But yeah, this one's about a girl in class, and she has a desk neighbor named Seki, and he just does like all these crazy things in order to not pay attention in class, and by extent she can't pay attention either, because she's always trying to get him in trouble, like, hey teacher, look at all these crazy things he's doing. He's literally making a story out of chess pieces. And it sounds stupid, but it's really funny, and it's great. I love that show.
Nice. I don't think let me look it up right now. Keyboard clicking sounds.
Have you not heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Click.
I don't think I've ever seen it though. Oh, I've watched one episode. I've watched one or two episodes and dropped it because I'm like, I get it. I got the whole. I don't want to watch anymore. But the opening is pretty great.
What?
You're right. Yeah. This wasn't for me. It was too many episodes, and I got the joke. I got it. Motoko in the chat.
But you don't understand. There's a whole episode with this robotic family. He makes a family unit out of these robots, and they have their own theme song, and it's just so cute. I love it.
I'm glad. I think I actually tried the show twice, and yeah, I tried it once, dropped it after episode 1. Someone's like, no, it's really good, and I tried episode 2, and no. Anyway, not for, I'm glad you enjoy it.
Okay.
I'm glad you enjoy it. And I'm wrong all the time. Like Motoko in the chat corrected me. The song that Dokuro-chan sings is actually not to signal his impending doom, but to revive him because, like I said, he's not a bad guy, and that's how he comes back to life, only to be killed again. Anyway, enough nonsense, enough goofing around. Let's move on to 5 shows where you actually might learn something, and/or you need to have your brain working at maximum capacity to get what's going on. So, Mitsgui's shows were Time of Eve, or Eve no Jikan, Chi's Sweet Home, Oji-san no Lamp, and Cells at Work. And I am absolutely crushed and astonished, unless he just thought it was so obvious that he didn't need to write it down, but how did he not write Dr. Stone on this list?
I know. I was actually thinking of Dr. Stone. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna save that for Mitsgui, and I can't believe he did not.
Yeah, I didn't even
He even
bother.
left out a blank box where we typed our answers, and he left a full blank box.
I'm gonna rectify this. People who are so gracious and helpful and pay for our bonus content, get our show notes, and you can see everything we talk about and our behind the scenes stuff. So you'll see a Dr. Stone in there, but let it be known that was not in there before just now. So you're seeing it happen real time. Yeah, some great shows here.
Although I want to comment on the on Sales at Work, because I also initially thought of that as well, but I also thought about it for turning your brain off, because while there is some reading involved and you do learn about the body, it's a really laid back show, I figure. Especially since it is episodic as well.
And Time of Eve and Oji-san no Lamp are not really, you won't learn stuff to ace your science exam, but they're pretty thought-provoking and decent shorts that are worth checking out, so definitely recommend those. But moving on to the people whose audio actually works today, Caroline, what is your first? It's okay, he's not listening right now. We can just pretend he doesn't hear this in editing audio. What is your first show?
I have Haibane Renmei, which is another anime. Like, a lot of the shows that I've watched in the last couple years have been because of Anime Club. So this is just another plug for Anime Club, I suppose. Yeah. I would not have watched Haibane Renmei if it had not been for Anime Club. And I have to say, it is a little more cerebral. It's a lot like Serial Experiments Lane in some ways, but I prefer Haibane Renmei over Serial Experiments. So yeah, it's a pretty good show. Again, you kind of have to pay attention to certain things in order to get the message out of it. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, great stuff.
Have you seen it?
I have. I have seen everything on your list, so I can vouch for everything here. But that will come to pass. So, all of my shows, when I proposed this topic, I wasn't thinking so much of shows that you need to be paying attention to get all the plot points or read all the subtitles and get all the themes, but more to learn something of some real world value, I guess. So my first one is the first of 2 historical shows on my list, which is the classic Rose of Versailles, which is a historical drama set in the years of the French Revolution, where you have Marie Antoinette and Oscar, the royal guard, who is a female in a very male-dominated world, and kind of their crossing of worlds and swords and just the things going on in that time from revolution and high-class society and the divide between the lower class. It's just a great look at that time in French history that we all, I think, learn about, but seeing it represented in this medium that normally kind of strays away from real world equivalents is a nice, refreshing change of pace, and actually interesting to learn about real world characters and how they might have played off in this kind of setting. So great show. It's a classic, highly acclaimed, and it's a good time. Oscar is a badass.
I've not seen Rose of Versailles, unfortunately. In fact, as you have seen everything on my list, I've not seen anything on your list.
Anything? Well, that makes sense.
No.
There is... I'll let you know which one you should see more than the others, but Rose of Versailles is like a shoujo classic, so don't... I
can tell you there are a couple things on the list that I've been meaning to watch for a while, but again, I just never have the time.
It's okay. We'll get to it. Moving on, though.
Next on my list is Mushishi, which is something that I want to add on both of these lists to turn your brain off and to turn your brain on, because it's actually like Honda-san. It is one of the shows that I watched whenever I had a bad day at work, because it is the music at the very least is such a calming experience. So everything combined in this, like in those short, like in these very episodic episodes, and the call that even despite how some of the episodes become a little bit darker, it's a great thing to watch after work when you're just trying to relax, for me personally anyway. But it's also, as I mentioned, it can be a little bit darker, and if you really want to be more attuned to this world and how it all works, what the mushi are, and the different ways that they affect the world they inhabit, then I would put it on this list. But it could be on both for mine.
Yeah, Mushishi is a goat. It's one of my all-time favorites, and I get that it's not for everyone. It's very slow, very lumbering, but it just does it so well, and I love it so much. So, good pick.
Thank you.
Next one, and this was probably the first one that I could see both as I'm going to learn about the culture of a forgotten, not race of people, but region of Japan. I'm going to learn about this whole food culture, this geographical culture, country relationships. There's a lot to this show, but it's also a great show to get drunk to because the characters are so goofy and wacky. But this show is Golden Kamuy, which is a pretty recently airing show. Season 3 came out not too long ago. And the show is quite simply just wild. It is a group of people who have like One Piece, there's a massive treasure hidden somewhere, and the map to find that treasure is massive, and it's tattooed across the backs of prisoners in this location that were then dispersed into the world. So all these people are running around with like 1/60th of a map tattooed on their back. So our main characters are going around slicing up these dudes so they can take their skins and collect them all to make a massive map to find this hidden treasure that may or may not exist in the Hokkaido wilderness of northern Japan, while they brave Russian enemies, Japanese enemies, Ainu enemies, wild animal enemies, and it's just a weird show that somehow works for the most part and is a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked it out, Golden Kamuy, pretty rad. Some cool OPs as well. So it's a fun time.
So it sounds like they're trying to find the One Piece.
They are. It's just a one big hunk of gold, and the real treasure is the friends we killed along the way. I think that's the message of the show.
Maybe. Next on my list is the Tatami Galaxy.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you know, Mason.
I've heard of it.
You know how chaotic this show is. And you cannot just be, sitting around and not wanting to, just to turn your brain off. That does not fit the show at all. You have to be very in tuned to what they are saying. Otherwise, you have no idea what's going on. Yeah, so it's just that kind of show where everything's super fast, and while there are things repeated for your ability to understand what's going on, you kind of need to keep your mind on to this show.
It goes fast, but it gets better. You would agree, right? Like,
it's good.
It's a little fast,
yeah,
but just stick with it and you'll manage just fine.
Yeah. It is a good show. So
I mean, it's like the best show of all time.
Another anime club show for me.
All time, baby. Anyway, moving right along. How are we doing on time? Where is the time? Oh, we're doing just fantastic. Hopefully we're doing all right. Anyway, next show, and this is the one, Caroline, where I think you would enjoy. This is a show called Silver Spoon, and this is a story in college, which is very rare to begin with. Actually, Tommy Galaxy is also in college, so maybe just not as rare. But Silver Spoon tells a story of this group in essentially farming college, and they learn to care for animals, grow crops, and all the other farming things that people do. And I'm not telling you to watch this show, Caroline, because I think you give off big farmer energy or vibes, but it's just really well animated, really endearing, really informative while being not too like jargon heavy, and it's really down to earth and has some great characters and some delicious looking food that comes from some pretty delicious looking animals, which is part of the fun
that
of
you
it.
probably form attachments to.
Kind of, but it's a very cute show, and it's way better than farming anime might seem. So check out Silver Spoon. It is a joy to watch, and might be another good come home from a hard day and watch one episode to unwind.
Yeah, that's certainly been on my list for a while, that I've been meaning to watch Silver Spoon. But yeah, at some point I will. And maybe we'll put into the anime club list, and maybe we will eventually watch it. And then I can definitely say I will watch it.
Heck yeah.
Next on my list, we have Sangatsu no Lion, which could also be put onto our first list for turning your brain off shows, because it's just an like there's a lot of things that happen in the show. Like there's a lot of relationships that, are formed and change over the course of time. And while it's also it's relaxing, but there's also a lot of, darkness involved at certain points in the show, especially in the second season. So in that aspect, I will put it into you need to pay attention, I guess. Though upon closer inspection, maybe it does deserve to be in the first list. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't put it in either list per se, but
You wouldn't.
I would say it belongs in this list because it's a good show. Actually, scratch.
You learned about shogi.
It's a great show, and it deserves your attention. So, how about that?
Could, yes. And also to the fact that while you're not explicitly told how shogi works, maybe except for that whole cat thing that happens in the first season, you'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen the show. But yeah, you do to an extent kind of understand how shogi works to a certain extent.
That shogi cat song is brilliant.
It is. That needs to be put on vinyl.
Exactly. Ooh, I would buy that. I would. Yeah, maybe I'd buy that. Maybe. We'll see. Next show on my list, another college-based show, because that's really where people learn about life. But in this show, people learn about microbiology, aka it's like cells at work, but instead of like humanoid cells running around inside your body, these are just kind of blobby looking cells, as one would expect cells to look like. Just all the bacteria and various stuff that are floating around in the air and in your bread and in deceased seal corpses and just in alcohol. It's everywhere. And essentially it follows our main character, who can actually see in big cartoonish representations the germs and cells and all those little critters that are everywhere and on every surface. And he just can see them, and that helps him identify things. And he goes to college where he can apply that knowledge to help see how things are made and actually utilized for scientific research and benefit. So Moria Shaman,
he's a human microscope, it sounds like.
He is. He's got the big old, he actually doesn't even wear glasses, but it's like he has a microscope on at all times, and he can see these critters, and they're kind of adorable. And it's pretty informative. It makes you appreciate like how just surrounded we are by these little guys, but how useful they are. So it's an interesting show. Moya Shiman.
Yeah, that's also been on my list to watch. Next up is another anime club anime, The Count of Monte Cristo, which I have not seen, or I have seen only due to the fact that it was an anime club.
Anime club
so
based.
Show,
join Discord, join anime club. It's really cool.
Please do. So with this show, it's basically the Count of Monte Cristo. Yes. If you know of the book, it is a version of it. I know it's not accurate because the book is massive.
Book is so good.
There's just been so many versions of it. This is just another version of that book, but with also mechas for some reason. And also space. Was space in the Monte Cristo book?
It's better than Yasuke's use of mechas. I'll put it that way.
But yeah, it's an interesting show. Not for everyone, but if you would like to learn the very basic story of the Count of Monte Cristo, this is the show for you if you'd rather not read the book. And also, you do have to kind of pay attention to what's happening because, as I mentioned, the book is massive. There's a lot of characters you kind of have to keep track of. So, yeah, it's pretty good. But have your eyes prepared for some outrageous patterns.
I was going to say, you will not... I would not recommend this to drink to because I talked about Redline maybe being a little too trippy visually. This is like Gonzo
This definitely.
just trying their best to just throw every pattern and just obtuse color combination at the wall and seeing what sticks, and it all looks very clashing, I will say. And it's part of the charm and
I was
aesthetic.
about ready to vomit even without the influence of alcohol.
It's yeah, exactly. So maybe best consumed with no alcoholic assistance, but a good show nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
And my final show, which I've hammered on way too much over the last couple months since being introduced to it, but since we're here, we gotta learn about probably the most overtold and over-referenced people in all of Japanese media, maybe, besides perhaps the bombs. I think everyone goes back to the Sengoku era and talks about Nobunaga and all the controversy and warfare surrounding him. But the show is Hyogemono. I've talked about it before, but it is such a interesting and fascinating look into these people who lived during this time and just presents them in such a charming and lively way. And I feel like I really connected with them more in this franchise, I should say, than any other. And I felt like I really got a good feel for how all the people play off one another, how their lores and histories intertwine. And it's a very engaging show that represents the aesthetic perfection and what people will go through to achieve that. And it's a great show, and it has another set of banger OPs, and I will stop talking about it because if you've listened to the show before, I talk about it way too much. But nonetheless, that's kind of in line with like your villain sagas and other historical shows where it's interesting and you might learn something. So check them out.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think of them. Anything else? We kind of blazed through them, but I think we laid down a very wide range of shows within a subset of things worth paying attention to or maybe not paying attention to.
Yes, and I'm sure we've made quite a few recommendations that people are going to get absolute sloshed with.
Yeah, I glanced at Twitch chat and they're going on about X-Arm a lot, so I think our message came through loud and clear.
Yes, I think so too. I mean, well, there have been a couple of several occasions where they've been on an absolute tangent in the chat where they talk about dieting and tea. And
I
it's just,
love them.
where are they
I
going
love
with
the
this
chat.
stuff?
They make me chuckle
Yeah.
every time. So, with that in
Shout out
mind,
to the chat.
would you like to read the trivia question?
I would. So, in Zombieland Saga, a group of undead idols are on a quest to revitalize the Saga prefecture and save it from irrelevance. As a test of their success, can you name which of the 5 islands of Japan Saga prefecture is located in, and what is the name of its capital city? And we'll give you the answer when we come back.
Anime Addicts Mitsgui is here bringing you a sweet dose of anime news, starting us off with 2 brand new anime adaptation announcements. Shogakukan, which is a publisher, announced via a new website made for the adaptation of Komi Can't Communicate, or Komi-san wa Komyusho desu, that a TV series will be released on TV Tokyo in October of 2021, that being the fall anime season. It looks like the synopsis. It's Shoko Komi's first day at the prestigious Eton Private High School, and she has already risen to the status of school's Madonna. With long black hair and a tall, graceful appearance, she captures the attentions of anyone who comes across her. There's just one problem, though. Despite her popularity, she's terrible at communicating with others. Coming from Studio OLM of ODDTAXI and Utawarerumono, and directed by Kazuki Kawagoe of Koisuru Asteroid and Beyblade Burst, who have worked on those. So if you're a big fan of this property, this manga, Komi Can't Communicate. Look out in the fall of 2021. And next up, a second season of Love Live Nijigasaki Gakuen School Idol Dokokai, or Love Live Nijigasaki High School Idol Club, was recently announced, and it looks like this is going to be coming out for a 2022 broadcast. The first season came out on October 3rd with a conclusion of 13 episodes on the 26th of December last year. Funimation streamed it, of course. If you're a big fan of Love Live, you're going to be able to get more of this property coming out in an undisclosed date, but it seems to be promised to be coming out in 2022. Next up, the winners of the 45th Kodansha Manga Awards were announced. So if you're a big fan of manga and you're looking for the best and the hottest manga, according to Kodansha, you can check out Blue Lock by Yusuke Nomura, which won in the shonen category. Also, of course, Fire Force won in the best shonen category as well. Hananoi Kun Tokoi no Yamai by Megumi Morino won in the shoujo category. Also, Honey Lemon Soda won in the shoujo category as well. And in general, Ao no Kun ni Sawaritai Kara Shinitai by Umi Shiina and Yuria Sensei no Akai Ito won in the general category. So listen to that a couple times, write down those titles, and you'll be able to check out some great manga from last year. And lastly, as I think we all have been hearing over the course of the last several months, it looks like Ali, the band that was responsible for the ending theme of Jujutsu Kaisen and other properties, has entered an indefinite hiatus following the arrest of the drummer. Tokyo, the band Ali, announced that they were going to enter this hiatus after the band drummer Kahadio, or Kadio Shirai, was arrested and was indicted on charges by the police. It looks like the band's management has rescinded the contract for Kahadio, dismissing him from the band. And on April 23rd, of course, the incident involved him and his friends calling an elderly woman and offering her a refund for medical expenses in exchange for her transferring $21,000 to a bank account. So just sad that a great band is apparently disbanding, all because of one of the members. Sad days. This was Mitsgui, and this was your anime news break. Now, time to get back to the podcast right now.
Just how outrageous are the hosts of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast?
Bulma, Brief, from Dragon Ball Z, is such a tease.
Anime.
You're going to go over to Master Roshi's house every day, wearing your little short shorts, your little sexy tops.
Addicts.
But you're not going to let him tap that ass, even though he wants to tap it and he gets nosebleeds all the time.
Anonymous.
He's 500 years old. The man can't die till he gets laid. Let the man rest in peace. All I gotta say is Master Roshi's sperm count is over 9,000.
Podcast. Don't miss a moment. Tune in at aaapodcast.com and iTunes.
Welcome back to the very chill Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We are trying to figure out who that voice was in the news break. I don't recall him ever existing on this show before, but word is he I guess he used to be a member here. Anyway, that was misrecorded that that news break like seconds before we realized that his audio was not working. So I just swiped it and stole it, and that's that. Anyway, when we left you, we gave you a in-show trivia question, and that was, in Zombieland Saga, a group of undead idols are on a quest to revitalize the Saga prefecture. And essentially, can you name where Saga is located, which island of Japan, and what is the name of its capital city? It is on the main island of Kyushu. Kyushu is the answer we were looking for. That was off to the west of Japan. And the capital city of Saga is, because I am dumb and made this question, it's Saga. That's the answer. The more you know.
Saga. Oh, my word.
Oh my.
How was I supposed to know that?
The oldest trick in the book. The answer was right in front of us all along. So there you go. Props.
Trick question.
Props for those who knew the answer. So moving on, we originally had a planned Does Mitsugi's Mom Know segment, the best segment in this entire show. But unfortunately, with Mits not being able to be on, we thought it would be just not quite in the same spirit to not have him run it. So we will be postponing it. The screen you're seeing right below Caroline is lying. It says, Does Mitsugi's Mom Know? We will instead be doing... Let's do a last-second waifu war. Do we want to do that?
Okay. Sure.
There is no waifu war drop. Actually, I lied. Not on YouTube.
In the game of waifus, you either win or you late to anime school. Cake would be thrown. Iced tea will be served. Who will be at the top of the class and who will be bunked in Mason's Waifu Wars? Duh!
That was actually really good. That was really good. I was about to say
Thank
there's going to be no drop, but Mitz will put it in post. But no, he's not even going to do that now. We're going to leaving that in there because that was fantastic. So I guess I had one in my back pocket. And that waifu is from the Eccentric Family, which is a phenomenal show about family and the ties that bind us and looking out for your siblings. And if you have siblings, the show just captures the spirit of the relationships, good and bad, you have with them as these curious tanukis, these people who can jump between animal and human form, roam around Kyoto and get into all sorts of mischief, and it's a ton of fun, and the soundtrack is absolutely killer. It's based on a book by the same guy who did the Tatami Galaxy and Night a Short Walk On Girl and Penguin Highway and a bunch of other stuff. And it's a really fun, bright, cheery, fantastic little adventure. So check that series out. But best girl from that series, while she doesn't get as much screen time as I would like, is Gyokuran Nanzenji, which is the last name you'll recognize as a famous temple in Japan because all the last names of these characters are named after temples. So Gyokuran is just an absolute bae. She's so knowledgeable about family. She's considerate, but she stands up for the efforts of the person that she's kind of pursuing. You know, she's got the childhood friend vibes going on, and just is one of those people that always knows where the relationship is going before the dumb idiot boy does, but she definitely guides it in the right direction with, like, patience, though. And she's not too domineering. She's supportive, but not overbearing. She's polite. She's intelligent, but she still has that commanding presence, especially when it comes to playing shogi, where they play, like, massive human shogi, and she's the general, and that's just badass. Even when all the tanuki, because they are playing shogi, don't have the patience for it and start, like, breaking the rules, she, like, whips them all up into shape. And she does so by turning into a massive tiger and just scaring them shitless. So that's usually a good, I guess, I don't know, words to describe a person. That's what I want to say. Anyway, she's prideful but not as stubborn as everyone else, and she's always very reasonable while being honest and stylish and forthright. So, as she would say, make sure to cause some trouble and make sure to have some fun in life. She's the best girl of Eccentric Family, and you should watch that show.
Yes, another anime club show that I watched.
Shame. Watch the show.
You know, actually, I'll have to say I'm not all that, interested in the Eccentric Family. It just wasn't the show for me.
I know.
Which is just strange. But I can't. Unfortunately, I can't really remember which character you're talking about.
She shows
I'm
up
just
in
glad
season 2.
it wasn't that character.
It wasn't Ben.
Oh,
it wasn't Ben 10.
Yeah, because I've only seen season 1.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad it wasn't Ben 10 because that's a dumb
Oh, my
name. I keep
goodness.
on thinking about Ben 10 the cartoon.
Yep.
And also I just dislike her. So I'm glad it wasn't her.
She is definitely worst girl of that show. Big sad. But she is still a great character. Just a aggravating one at that. Nonetheless, I really enjoy that show, and I hope you guys do as well.
I do not condone the eating of tanuki.
Maybe. We'll see.
I just don't.
We're all in an anime club. They might be tasty. You never know.
Shame.
Shame.
We're
Anyway.
just making our own drops here.
Well, this one I actually might have queued up. I'm going to let you do the dancing so I don't mess it up. But let's see if this works.
It's time for an almighty anime
And
mailbag.
start dancing now.
Anime.
Mailbag.
Just tell me when
Now,
to stop.
Caroline, it did just stop. Would you believe me if I said that I didn't play the mailbag drop and I just made you dance like an idiot for no reason?
Asshole. You are so horrible.
I just
hate you.
asked if you would believe me if I did that. Do you think I would do something that cruel?
Yes.
Okay, well, you're right. I would, but I didn't. You're safe. So we're good.
Okay.
This mailbag was supposed to come from Louis the Cat because he, one of the benefits of being in the Twitch chat is that you get to bribe other people to do things, and he bribed me 25 cents in an iTunes review if I would jump ahead in the order and read his mailbag. And I am a very cheap man and accepted his offer. So I did not see an iTunes review from him because I just checked very briefly. But because I know Louis, he's been a long time listener, I assume he's done the review. And I just take his word. But I will say, while looking through iTunes reviews, I know we don't promote it all that much, but we do really appreciate them. They do really help out the podcast. I did see a review from 8-Bit Toaster, who gave us a review not too long ago that said, Mitsgui is mad strong and I'm jealous, which is, I think, exactly word for word what we asked the review to say. So, 8-Bit Toaster, I appreciate that review. Thank you very much. But because Louis' mailbag, which you can leave yourself at aaapodcast.com, at the top there's a mailbag button. Click it, do the thing. We'd love to get your submissions. Was specifically targeted towards Mitsgui. I think we want to save that question. So, Louis the Cat, your bribe did work, but I feel like it would not be right to use it now. So next week, we will hear your mailbag. Actually, I lied. Mitz is going to be gone next week. Oh, no.
You're stuck with us two goobers for the next 2
How about
weeks.
this? You don't have to pay me the 25 cents. I'll thank you for the mailbag, and we'll call it even. Good? Good. Okay, so I'm going to scroll through the mailbag list right now. And I'm going to pick a random question. It could be anyone. There's no time here. There's no limit to anything I could pick. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Here's one that we could do. If I can read it. Let's see, who is it by. I'm stalling because I just lost it.
Oh boy.
Oh, this is an OP one, but we just did OPs. We just did them not too long ago.
Last week, in fact.
Okay, here we go. This one we'll go with a classic from Yotaru Vegeta. And he writes, so this popped into my mind, AAA. As long as any of us have been addicts, there have always been these arbitrary lines drawn between manga and anime adaptations. But I wonder if you or someone you know have actually read a manga side by side while watching an anime to see how they compare. Crazy idea, I know. Caroline, have you ever done such a ludicrous and irresponsible thing, such as read the manga while watching the anime of that same manga?
I can only think of one instance at the moment, and that was when I was watching Naruto. We were talking about that on the Discord for a little bit, like my experience watching Naruto. So back when it was still airing, I'd caught up completely to the anime. I don't even know how I did that. But yeah, so this is back in like the war arc, as long as that was. And, I finished it and I'm like thinking to myself, well, I might as well go read the manga now. I still don't know why I did that, because I'm not even a huge manga reader. So why did I promise myself to read hundreds and hundreds of chapters of a show that I've already seen up to that point? So, and somehow I caught up to it in time for the ending of the show. So that was surprising. I surprised myself, but there was so much filler anyway. So you kind of had to get through it. Yeah, so at that point, I did pretty much read it side by side, but I just caught up to it while it was airing. I don't know if I could call that side by side, but yeah, basically that was the only instance. And since the manga is pretty much just the anime just in manga form, it didn't really change my experience all that much, really.
It was pretty one-to-one for the moments that were...
Yeah, from what I
there.
can remember.
Okay.
I didn't really think of anything different.
Nice. Well, I have certainly done such an irresponsible and stupid thing, such as read the manga while watching an anime. I do that actually quite a bit. I am doing it this season with I can't even... Why am I blanking out on everything today? To Your Eternity. For the first 3 episodes, I followed along almost panel for panel to see how the adaptation was with the pacing and the artwork and the framing, and it's pretty one-to-one. I definitely have done that before with Ping Pong, a show that I love and I actually find to be better than the manga. The manga makes some mistakes that I think the anime rectifies, so I think it's kind of very interesting seeing how adaptations can work, from the way stylistic moments from, I don't know, weird framing to camera pans work, from the more like action-oriented things where animators have a little more freedom to just hit the same story beats, but maybe can frame a fight differently. So I think it's actually a very engaging and thought-provoking exercise to do that at least once, and I recommend people do so. So actually not a crazy idea. I recommend it, and it's fun. So thank you for the mailbag, Taru, and Louie the cat. I promise we will get to you when I damn well please.
Week after next.
Yeah.
If we can
if Mitz hasn't
get all
died
their
again.
technical difficulties underway.
Who knows? Maybe Mitch will be so frustrated that he wasn't able to attend today that he'll make a special appearance next week. We shall see, and we will be much more prepared that time, possibly. No promises. Mm-hmm. Anyway, moving along, I was going to do the Avatar thing where he's like, do the thing, but I forgot the lady's name, and I'm just talking out of my butt now. It's like Julie?
Do the thing, Julie.
Yeah, something like that. You heard him.
Julie,
Today,
do the thing.
I think
that's the thing was the other way around.
Impression time, believe it.
Yeah, we're on our
We're gonna move on.
Final week of impressions for the spring 2021 anime season. Currently, we have passed Godzilla SP, To Your Eternity, Nomad, Megalobox Season 2, and Vivi Fluorite Eyes Song. So, that means we have, as the hosts, 2 more shows we're going to pass today. Then, actually not even then, right now, when you are listening to this, the listener choice poll is open on our Discord, on our website, on Twitter, on everywhere. I'll post it in Twitch.
Okay, not on Twitter yet.
It'll happen.
Put it on Twitter or Facebook yet.
I promise. Pressure's on.
It will be on.
There will be a link where you can vote for the shows that you want us to review and the top 3 shows that survive your gauntlet. And all the votes come in. Those will be the additional 3 we review onto the 6 we've already passed, leaving us with 9, which will fill out the slate. So if there's anything that we have not passed yet that you're like, ooh, I really want to hear them review it, that's your one and only chance. So don't miss out. So today we were gonna do Shaman King because that was Mitz's. I will just throw all of his thoughts and well-realized opinions out the bus and say Shaman King was not very good. Everyone looks like a big old bobblehead. I don't know who it's for. I feel like people who want the remake, it doesn't deliver much better experience than the original back in the day, and it just does not hold up quality-wise to what's coming else around it. Like, I thought it was pretty weak, and as someone who was only vaguely interested in Shaman King before the 2000 version, like, this was just so much of a slog. everything was so predictable with a lot of visual shortcuts taken during combat where they don't even try to like match the mouth flaps of characters because they don't even have mouth flaps. They just have characters talking without, and it looked bad. It was really ugly. I'm sorry, Pancake, and people who enjoyed the show, and I wish them all the best. But this was a rough couple episodes that I saw. So Shaman King, I'm just gonna right out the bat axe it. I don't have any fail drops. Caroline, do you want to attempt one?
Wow, that is a big pile of shit.
Okay.
Was that it? Was that one?
That's
I think so.
Yeah, that works.
Oh wait, what a pile of shit! I remember that.
No, that's the little girl who hears the story from the person. She's like, "Oh, what a load of crap," or something, or horseshit, whatever. Anyway,
we're just making him up now.
We're just sending them. Anyway, Shaman King first to go today. We will go next. I guess, Caroline, do you want to go?
All right. So on my impressions list today, first is Shadow's House. So this is an anime done by Cloverworks, and it's all about this family who lives in an isolated mansion. They are a family of nobles known as the Shadows, which is actually their last name. It's a little strange that it's their last name, but whatever. So they are actual shadows, I guess you can call them. They are pitch black, silhouette-like figures that emit this soot when they are feeling negative emotions. So this soot has the tendency to gather and just dirty up everything. They even become dangerous. Like they become like little monsters. They become actual monsters if they gather up enough. So it's kind of a problem. So the family has this group of human-looking, quote-unquote, dolls that their job is to clean the soot and to serve the family as their quote-unquote faces. Because each family member is assigned a personal doll that matches their silhouettes perfectly when they are near their coming of age. But when they do become of age, both the doll and the master's fate are intertwined as they will be decided by their debut. Which I don't know what the debut is yet because I haven't watched that point up to the anime yet. But if they fail their debut, something awful will happen to the both of them. So they're kind of like working in a teams while at the beginning of the anime, I kind of assumed that all the shadows were going to be evil. But that's not necessarily the case because the main character, who's named as is a Miliko, she serves a girl named Kate, and because their fates are intertwined, you can probably assume that they're not necessarily evil per se. But the family itself is very strange and suspicious. So yes, that's the basic premise of the show, and overall, it's pretty good. There's a lot that needs to be explained. We're pretty much only at the very beginning of the story, but yeah, it's very interesting. The only thing is that the main character of Miliko is extremely annoying. She's just overly genki. She's just like, I just want to be friends with everyone. Ah!
Let me knock over every vase. Every scene, constantly.
Yes, let me fall down and make... Yeah, she falls down constantly. She does everything wrong, and she's always worried, like, I just want to be a good doll and serve Kate-sama and everything. I'm just like, okay, we get it. You're Genki.
Like,
you're Moe, kind of.
Like, I get that she's clumsy. Like, that fits her character, but it's, like, so excessive that you're like, come on.
It's just, I had great expectations for the show, but the first episode made me want to bang my head against a wall. Fortunately enough, it is interesting enough, and with other characters involved, Miliko becomes less annoying. She's still annoying, but when the first episode's just her and Kate, and because Kate is not really that talkative, it's basically just her falling over and saying weird, like, annoying things and making little anime girl sounds like, kind of, you know what I mean. The little anime girl sounds. So yes, despite all that, it's really good so far. I'm interested, so I will be passing it. Yay!
Cha-cha!
Do you have a pass sound?
I don't.
Do you have a pass sound that you drink?
I do not have a pass sound, but many people in the chat are saying that your
shall pass.
Your pass sounds are amazing, and they just want to hear yours. So, excellent. That was sweet and to the point. I like it. I really like Shadow's House as well. It is intriguing. I will say it is another show by Cloverworks. that feels a little dark, that has a bunch of characters living in
Yeah.
a big house. And I'm a little hesitant because I've seen this setup before, but I think there could be something here that makes it really special. And I'm intrigued on where it goes. So
Yes, in the words of somebody that commented on like the PV on YouTube, this is apparently what the Promised Neverland should have been. Apparently, according to this one person on YouTube.
listen, that's a more reputable source than I am. Maybe not as reputable as Dr. Mario, but excellent. Well, my first show of this episode will be Zombieland Saga Revenge, and I won't say it in a weird voice this time. This is the next banger from Studio Mappa. As we all know, they have been killing it as of late, and killing it is fitting word because besides the animators that they're killing by doing all these shows, this show involves characters that have been killed, aka the titular Zombieland group that is Frenchuchu of these zombies from different eras that have been brought together under the ambiguous umbrella to save Saga Prefecture. You do not have to watch season 1 to get what's going on here, but I don't know why you would want to skip it because that was one of the most fun idol shows in recent years. Very tongue-in-cheek, ton of energy, and season 2 is just better. It is firing on all cylinders, and it is probably even significantly better than season 1 so far. So I'm absolutely digging this show. It's kind of rare that all the best characters from a season end up in one show, but like that's what's happening right now. Almost everyone here is lovable and has charm to them, and you just want to protect all these cinnamon rolls, even if they are a little expired. Let's say this show just exudes energy from the animation to the voice acting. Like you can just tell that people had fun making this show, and that comes to me, the viewer, and I have fun watching the show. I talked about it last episode with the opening. It's probably my favorite of the season. I just can't not watch it, and I will riot though if they do not dress up as animals again in this show, because that was amazing. There's so many little things that I love. The outfits that they're constantly changing into. When people like are eating really fast and they get surprised, like noodles come out of their nose. Like a fly will just be in the room and someone's eyes will be following it. Like so many small little add-ons that just imbue the show with life, which is fitting for a show about the dead. And the show does not shy away from them being dead. Like on one hand, it's part of the comedy, the humor, like haha, her head fell off again, like classic main character, like very funny. And I just like the aesthetic look of their like skin being like stitched together because it's all rotted and decayed. But like it's much more, and it's not very subtle, but it's very much a metaphor for like how in the real world idols are being worked to death, and like to like stagnate or flounder or not succeed is equivalent to dying. So it knows what it's doing with the premise, but the humor is amazing. Couch and references. I mean, these scenes are so jam-packed with references from like, I think one scene had like a Full Metal Jacket reference right to like a first-person shooter reference with like all 8 characters like bouncing around with like independent animation that all kind of still reveal their character traits with bombastic dialogue while the plot is still being advanced with like symbolism of jail cells and like a parallaxing effect to a lineup. Like there's just so much going on that I don't know, it just isn't it's a good show. There's really not much I can say that like dissuades me from not passing it. The problem is it's a sequel, so I feel like people already know what they think of the show. Like if you liked it at the beginning, you'll like it more now. You already know what you think. You don't need us to review it. And the bigger problem is it came out in a year of just other shows that I just love even more. Like I adore Zombieland Saga Revenge. It's probably going to get a really high score for me. I will be following it, but there's so many more unique shows that I just want to give a chance to and get a voice to that people might sleep on, that I don't know how much of a need there is to review the show. So if you guys pick it for the listener's choice, I will be ecstatic. I'll probably be talking about the show regardless, depending on how, what have we been watching pops up. But despite the bribe that I've also been sent by other people for, what was it, 25 cents, Caroline?
It was $1,
Ooh.
but I think
Ooh, that might
Louis the
change
Cat
my
might
mind.
have updated it to $3.
Ooh.
I'm not entirely sure.
Ooh, that is much more tempting now.
Louis
Unfortunately,
the Cat is like the biggest briber of our entire Discord.
well, was this Louis that was bribing us? I thought this was someone else.
Yes.
Oh, this was Louis
At least
as well?
at least one bribe came from Louis.
Okay. Well, I thought that was for his... Anyway, Zombieland Saga Revenge, really fun show. Check out Season 1 if you haven't. If you have, check out Season 2, which you probably already have done. But I can't pass it because I only get 2 shows, and this just... It's not a top 2 show.
Yeah.
Like, how dare this show be one of the best shows, but not the best? Like, that's where I'm at right now. So, sadly...
The problem is, people...
Listen, I'm putting it on you. If you love the show, you gotta carry that burden. And this is not the last
problem
you've
is,
heard.
people...
Sorry, go ahead.
We only get 2 choices. Like, we cannot choose everything that we'd like to watch. And here's the thing, you guys get 3 choices. You just have to share it.
You just have to share it with hundreds of other listeners. But if you play nicely, if you all like Captain Planet and put your hand in and vote for Zombieland Saga Revenge, this will come back from the dead. So I think that's a very fitting place for this show to be, in the ground right now, and let's see if it rises. Fail drop. Which one do you want to do, Caroline?
Beep, beep, beep.
Ooh, but that's the garbage truck backing up. I don't know. Oh, that's a little harsh, but you know what? Let's go with it. Let's go with it.
It's Truck-kun.
There you go.
Truck-kun.
Truck-kun killed the show once, killed it again here. Sad. I cry at night. Anyway,
Sad.
Moving right along.
Okay. My next show that I'm here to review is Jouran, the Princess of Snow and Blood. So this is done by a studio called Bakken Record, which has only done one other thing, and it is, I think it's an OVA called Pandora to Akubi, and I've never heard of it.
Yeah, they've done nothing.
Yeah, they've done absolutely nothing. But yes, set in an alternate 1931, the shogunate is still in power in Japan. And there's also a clan with mysterious abilities and blue blood. So this is both an alternate historical anime and a fantasy. So a clan member, her name is Sawa, has, like these special abilities, their connections to like crows and their ability to like have glowing blue eyes and smoke emitting from their mouths that kind of make them look like a skeleton when the smoke kind of passes over. It's a really cool effect. So like really powerful fighters basically is what their abilities are. So she joins an organization of secret executioners that serve to protect the shogunate from a rebel force. But her main motivation here is to take out the leader of the rebels because he's the one who killed all of her clan. So she's not really all that bothered by the rebels, except for this one guy who she's like swearing her revenge to. So the synopsis, it actually sounds really simple, but somehow the show is really complicated for some reason. The characters and their allegiances and the setting are just very confusing. But the thing is, the art and the Saga is just amazing. I cannot get over how much I love how this show looks. And the thing is that I'm really enjoying it, despite the complications of the plot. I think I really like watching it. I just hope that if it would stick the landing, it would make a really great, interesting discussion, I think. But I'm also, I think, in the minority in liking it. I don't know a lot of people that are loving this show. And the thing is that Nomad and Shadow's House are just better all around, and I don't want to risk losing them in a listener's choice poll. That's the reason why I passed them, and the reason why I cannot pass Jouran, which really hurts, because I was going back and forth about this show for so long. Mason and Mitsgui can attest to me just telling them all about the show and how much I hate the fact that it just wasn't good enough overall to secure a pass. Because I don't hear a lot of people talking about the show, and at the very least, how it looks is just really good.
I have a question for you, and I'm gonna put this image in Twitch, which let's see if this works. Oh, there he is. Is this the person from Jouran? Is this not exactly the same look as?
Let me see. Wait, what?
It's Grimjow from Bleach. It should show up on Twitch soon. If not, I can copy it. It's GrimMMJOW. It's this like blue-haired dude with his jaw is like, it's not revealed in the same way, but it gives me the exact same look as the Jouran person. You know what? I'm gonna jump between this
Slightly.
and the title person. Yeah, that's almost the same vibe.
It's the jaw and the hair, but it looks a lot better than that.
It does. I'm just like, when I first saw Jouran, this is like who I thought of. I'm like, oh, it's just this guy again. Very funny.
Mm.
Anyway.
But you've watched at least an episode of it, right?
Yeah, I watched the first episode, and it just felt, I don't want to say too ambitious, but it felt like there was a lot going on, and it felt just kind of wonky. Like it was doing too much, and it was relying too much on it looking kind of cool during one of the fights to sell you on it. And yes, the opening looks fantastic, and if the show looked like that more often, it'd be really impressive. But it feels like this Bakken Record studio, they seem probably new, they're probably very small. I'm guessing they watched...
This is also an original anime, by the way. This is not based on a manga or light novel or anything. It's original.
I'm guessing they watched Demon Slayer and saw how good that looked and said, let's do that. Let's capture that. Okay, we're doing that. And they turned around, and they probably do not have the same staff as UFO Table, and said, ooh, well, let's try our best. And the show constantly is tripping over itself, trying to tie all these disparate elements together. So while it hits some things, I just personally was like, this seems like it will turn into a mess that doesn't really feel satisfying. But, you know, if someone said at the end of the season, like, hey, it really delivered, it came together nicely, I'm not opposed to checking it out. So I guess if you're going to keep on watching it, you'll keep us in the loop.
Yeah. If I can ever make it to a What We've Been Watching episode, because I've missed the last two.
Listen, you'll get there. You'll get there. I mean, you still have, 7-8 weeks before the season ends? You'll be fine.
Yeah, but actually, I think 7 episodes have already been released of the show, so they're moving quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So,
what fail drop you want to give this one?
I can't even remember. Can you think of one?
I mean, you kind of stole the "You Shall Not Pass" one earlier with.
But didn't I reuse that one?
You did. You said with okay. You shall pass.
You shall not pass.
Gandalf.jpg. Love it. Love it.
Yes. Gandalf if he was a 24-year-old girl.
Heck yeah. Dad. That's what the viewers really want, though. So, final show of the season. Obviously, it's going to get passed because this is the last show we have to pass, and that is ODDTAXI. So, boom, no surprise. You can just play the lock it up. No, you lock it up. No, you lock it up. I'm going to lock it up. No, you lock it up. Oh, whatever that drop is, play it now. As I rant about how good ODDTAXI is. This is your, everyone's going to say, oh, it's your B-Stars and a Gretzko because all the people look like animals. I am like 80% sure the creatures in the show actually are human. They're just represented as animals, but it doesn't matter. We follow our 41-year-old taxi driver named Odokawa, which is a walrus-looking boy, and if he did a podcast, he'd be the best podcaster ever. I want him on the show. All he does is drive around, pick up folks, and have like conversations about humanity and about just what it means to live in this era. And they get into things like social media, gacha games, internet dating, just 2020 culture, and just the problems with the world today. And they kind of wax philosophically about things, make some terrible dad jokes with a Western influence. And all of this is happening while there's this subplot of a, I guess, very violent mob boss's daughter is kidnapped, and they're trying to figure out who did it, why they did it. And we think our Odokawa might be heavily involved with such a kidnapping. So it's got a very dark, somber aesthetic going on. This is also an original work, so no idea where it's going. This is done by Studio OLM. It's on Crunchyroll, which I think also I didn't mention, but Zombieland Saga is on Crunchyroll and Funimation, but ODDTAXI is on Crunchyroll. And this show is, in one word, a vibe. And I've said that word a lot this episode, probably. But there is just like a serene calmness to this show. Perfect for watching late at night. And our MC is definitely the opposite of the Shadows House Genki girl, but this laid back, very cool and calm, collected walrus boy with a little cute hat. And he just does his thing. And this show is mainly just two characters talking, often in a taxi, often for at least half the episode. So if you perceive these engaging, droll, and surprisingly mature conversations on like the fragility of modern society to be like boring or aimless or taxing, ha ha ha, joke, maybe the taxi show isn't for you. And I get that. It's lumbering. It's maybe a bit clumsy with some of the jokes. And if you're looking for a fight scene or fan service, like this show will not have that. But it is just engaging. Like I just like listening to the conversation of this show. And it's very simply animated, nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. And I think it's just so smartly written that I'm pulled in, and then 20 minutes later, I feel like I got the conversation. I know everything there is to know about these characters, what their motivations are, and what they're striving for. And it just is compelling, and I really enjoy that. It feels very refreshing. I'd say the biggest potential downside is that there is this whole slow burn mystery kidnapping plot, which we're still very much in limbo about, and if that doesn't deliver an engaging like conclusion, that could be a bit of a bummer. But I'm not really here for that. I'm here for the vibe and the characters and their dialogue. So I think people's mileage may vary.
You're here for the, what is it, a walrus?
Yeah.
A seal?
He's a walrus, I think. Yeah.
You're here for the
I'm
walrus.
here for the tusks. And his cutie alpaca potential lady friend. But
ooh,
she is so fluffy look. She's so fluffy. But anyway, I'm really vibing with the show. I am willing to pay the fare to see where it takes me. And like I said, it's very refreshing and unique. And I think it'll be a sleeper hit that people might not normally go for, but I urge you to give it a chance if that sounds like your cup of tea. So I, as I said earlier, will be passing ODDTAXI with hope that it delivers more fire.
well, there it is.
Excellent. Oh, perfect timing. So
I don't know if that was a pass. I don't know if that was a past one, or like if that was included in our past drops or what.
it is now.
I don't know.
It is now. So this leaves us with Godzilla SP, To Your Eternity, Nomad Megalobox Season 2, Vivi Fluorite Ice Song, Shadows House, and ODDTAXI. So
These are your spring anime choices before listener choice.
yeah, and if you're sitting there like, wait, I like the show and that wasn't what Mason just read, well then reminder to go click on the link and vote so we can do it. And before you do that,
Yes.
Caroline, what are your last pleas, your call to arms to say, hey listeners, don't sleep on this show, give the show a chance, make sure you don't forget about this one before you cast that important ballot.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not expecting them to pass these shows, but the thing is that for whatever reason, I freaking love Jouran, and I have to say it. I don't know why, and I know a lot of people are, at least have mixed feelings about it, if not total despisation for the. I don't know if that's a word. That's not a word.
We know what you meant,
If not, they totally despise the show. Listen, just give it a try and tell me if I am insane for liking it as much as I do. But if you don't pass it, I don't hold it against you. And likewise with Slime 300, it is a freaking adorable show, and I love watching it, as I have mentioned in the past. Again, I don't expect you to pass it, and in fact, I would rather you pass a show with a lot more storyline. But if you're looking for a show, you can kick back, watch some cute girls do some cute things, but also be just, I don't know, super fluffy and nice. It's a good show, and I highly recommend it.
And maybe enjoy an adult beverage while you do so. If that was one on your list, right?
Maybe.
Wasn't that on your list?
No, I think this one was on the fluffy turn your brain off
Yeah,
shows.
that's what I.
Oh yeah. I forgot those two things are intertwined.
I guess they're intertwined.
I guess you can enjoy an adult beverage with it, but I mean, I think some of the other
if you are
again, they're not mutually exclusive. Like they're not the same exact thing,
know,
but we put them in the same list. So yeah.
Yeah. So as you probably got the gist with my Zombieland Saga thing, there were so many good shows this season. Obviously Zombieland Saga, I think 86 has a lot of potential. It's been turning around. It's got a second core coming, so I think there's a lot of love for that there. So I expect both of those to do well, listeners' picks, so I would love to see them. And outside of listeners' picks, like, I don't think either of these three shows will win, but I've been absolutely digging them. First of all, Bakuten Backflip. It's the Noi Tamina show about rhythm gymnastics. It is a very, I guess, by the numbers sports show. Very, we need more members to make the team. Oh, and they all have different hair colors and personalities. Like, nothing new or groundbreaking, but it looks pretty darn good. The CG sequence in episode 1 is whatever, but like, they respect the rhythmic gymnastics art and they present a lot of things really well. So I love the show. It's got a soundtrack by Yuki Hayashi, who did Haikyuu and Run with the Wind, and he actually did rhythm gymnastics in college. So he in his past life designed music for rhythmic gymnastic performances. So he's such a great choice for this show. It sounds fantastic, looks fantastic. Backflip is a bunch of fun. Super Cub, I talked about it last week. It's a really calming, meditative show about this girl who just has a little moped scooter thing, Super Cub, and she zooms around and she smiles and it's adorable. And I made a moderately funny Twitter post of her doing that at like 5 miles an hour set to Initial D music, and it makes me laugh every time, and you should watch that because I put like 20 minutes of effort into it. So yeah. And those Snow White Notes, the Shamisen show, I've only watched a couple episodes, but it started off with some banging performances. Love the music in that show, so don't sleep on that either. Vote for the show you want.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
We had to limit ourselves to 2 shows. You guys have to fill in the rest and make sure they're good.
We trust you.
Make sure they're worth our time.
We trust you. Remember,
make sure it's not How to Not See Them, Demon Lord. Please do not pick that one.
It's not going to be that. No. The podcast is canceled if that show wins. You can believe it. Anyway, believe it. I forgot. I'm going to do it now. Hindsight is 2021. Let me just play it just so when Mitz is like, Mason, I sent you all those drops. Did you use them? I'll be like, yeah, definitely. I definitely did it.
Today, we're going to be doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it.
Actually, now that I think I might have done it and just forgot to mention. Who cares? Nobody cares.
Oh, okay, well, I'll do it. Either way, I'll do it. Today, we're going to be doing impressions. Impression time, believe it.
There you go. You heard it here. The third time's the charm. Anyway.
Yes.
Closing. There's no Mitz to pressure us today. Thank you all for joining us. This was a bit of a cluster, but a lot of fun. And I guess those are the ratios that this podcast usually operates in. So thank you for listening. You can find Caroline / the podcast official Twitter at AAA Podcast. You can find Mitsgui when he's actually here at Pope Mitsgui. You can find me at Macy Pacey and look up that amazing Initial D video. It's not that good, but whatever.
Make him feel good, people.
Listen, I need validation from my peers and my fellow weeaboos. Join us on Facebook. Join us on Discord, where we have the acclaimed, we've been selling it all day, the Anime Club, which is up to no good. What are we doing this week, Caroline?
Okay, so on May 19th, yeah, this is only for the people who are listening live, because otherwise this episode is already past that date. But on May 16th, we are going to... it usually comes out on Thursdays.
Yeah, but I think if you're a paying member, you get it extra early. I could be wrong.
Oh,
I could be wrong.
okay.
An exclusive club. That's actually probably a lie. Never mind.
Okay, well, either way, if you're listening to it before May 19th, please join us on May 19th. We're going to be watching this movie called Sensorol. I'm still not sure how to pronounce that. consent co-roll.
You don't need to know. Just show up in
whatever.
Discord. I'll be streaming it. All you got to do is kick back and relax.
10 p.m. EDT. Please join us. Even if you're not part of Anime Club, just hop in.
Yeah.
And so that is the reason why we are actually watching something during Anime Club is because we are doing an extra long assignment for our next proper club. We are watching all of Samurai Flamenco, which if you were listening to our news break, you would know that it's leaving Crunchyroll. So you'll have to watch all the show on Crunchyroll ahead of time for June 2nd, because we're going to be discussing it on June 2nd at 10 p.m. EDT.
Now I believe you started the show, Caroline. How wild is this show?
It's pretty great. It's funny. It's cringe as heck.
Yes.
It is. Yeah, but get past that. Get to episode 7 and everything will change.
It never stops changing. The show it's something, all right, and I'll give it that much. We also have Manga Club. No, not as talked about, but still super amazing. On May 26th.
Go join Manga Club.
Yeah, do it, people. We will be... Actually, this one I think is great for newcomers to the medium. May 26th, we'll be talking about All You Need Is Kill, Volumes 1 and 2, aka the entire thing. It's a very short manga at 10 p.m. EDT. This manga was actually the basis for the movie Edge of Tomorrow, aka Live, Die, Repeat, aka we don't know how to name this Tom Cruise movie, but it's actually pretty good. So check it out. It's a classic. It's well revered. So All You Need Is Kill, May 26th. We hope to see you there.
Yes, and also, just as a message, because I don't think a lot of people know about this, but after this episode is done, we are going to be sticking around for an after party. So if you would like to join us in that after party, keep on our Twitch channel, and we will be back with that.
Yeah, so Twitch, you get to see us mess up live. You don't get these edited content machines. YouTube is also pretty cool. I've actually been putting in timestamps for everything and really cleaning it up just a little bit, so... if it's not on Twitch, you can see the passive there, but you lose the chat. So it's really best to be here in the flesh. Find us at aapodcast.com. That's where you can get access to all our bonus content. Submit the mailbags, iTunes review, join the Discord. It's really your one-stop shop.
Shark Tanks.
Yeah.
We need Shark Tanks.
Doing that soon. And next week, since we're done with impressions, we are back to reviews. We'll be doing Horimiya as our next one. So get hyped for that.
I'm so excited.
We'll see if Mitz is here next week. But in the meantime, thank you all who joined us. And Caroline, anything else as we send this puppy off?
Nope, nothing for me.
Anyway, that was next episode.
Get
See you there.
ready.
Have a good one.
You're up.
Oh boy, I was playing the wrong drop. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.